already seen quite a large number of rating downgrades and even bankruptcies in the US. Partially that's because, given the nature of the industry, the share, which is high cost, and also the scale of some of the players, and you can't extrapolate that to all other regions of the world. If you look at Asia, the oil and gas sector here is actually dominated more by the state-owned enterprises. Now, their financial profiles have taken a bit of a dent, but in terms of ratings, most of them are actually holding up fairly well. And there's one other nuance, I suppose, when it comes to that big revenue dent in the oil and gas sector, which is there is a almost step-for-step translation of the oil prices into margins for the upstream sector. But if you talk about Asia is more heavy on downstream. So for them, crude cost is an input. So they do lose a lot of revenues, but they do also lose a lot of costs. So the margin impact or the cash flow generation impact is not as heavy as it is for the upstream. But generally speaking, we are assuming fairly low oil prices in our forecast. And I think the numbers that you see today are not widely different from what we assume. Again, I think you spoke about the report and sort of these big numbers there. And there's one big assumption, which is lockdowns in major scale lockdowns are limited to first half of the year. And we'll see lockdowns being lifted the second half and health systems being able to sort of cope up with the numbers. Now, if we have a big second wave and another phase of severe lockdowns, the impact would be a lot severe.
I mean, in terms of the sectors you have flagged, you made the point the oil and gas sector not going to fare as badly here in Asia as in the US, but which sectors do you think are most vulnerable in Asia to further downgrades?
Right, so we've taken some big downgrades in retail, in autos. We don't have that many. So one of the important factors is that, so take retail, for example, which is a sector that's hugely impacted, but retail is not generally well represented in the cross-border capital markets to the extent that you see them in Asia. So as far as the rating movements are concerned, it's not a very good cross-section. But we've seen a lot of downgrades across a number of sectors. There's been concentration in industrials, in property developers, more so in Indonesia rather than China. We've seen some retail consumer-focused names and gaming companies taking a hit on their ratings.